Welcome back to Another Triathlon Podcast brought to you by Mona Apparel. This week, we've got an awesome interview, someone who has definitely shaken up the tri world, especially in the last month. But we are joined this week by Solveig Løvseth. So we wanted to say welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, it's so nice to be here.
That's fantastic. And then joined, as always, by Josh and Fede. And we're just going to kind of jump in and learn a little bit more about you and your career to this point. And then we'll dive into some of the fun that happened just this last weekend. But why don't you tell us first kind of a little bit about how you got into triathlon?
I started out actually with swimming. Started swimming just to learn to swim, basically. So in first grade in school, and I couldn't swim at that point, and I think I just liked to swim, and then I stuck with that and was training it quite seriously up until I was around 14, 15, and I didn't really feel that good at it, to be honest. I was training quite well, but compared to the other swimmers at the same age, I was just a bit behind, and it was actually my swim coach then who suggested I should try triathlon instead. And I was didn't really like that idea at first. Triathlon is still a really small sport in Norway, and at that point I didn't know anything about triathlon or anyone who did it. Now, for me, triathlon was just Norsemen, because that's like the only triathlon people have heard about here. So, and it's still like that now, actually. If I say to somebody that I do triathlon, they're just like, "Oh, you do Norsemen." But yeah, I felt like it was just like weird people who did it, and it took a while for me to like get used to the thought, and then I actually went on a camp with the national team, and I just saw that, oh, it's actually at least some other people my age doing this, and yeah, I just really liked it.
So you said, so even with the swim background, you still identify the swim as like the mentally toughest part of triathlon?
Yeah, for sure. But I think that's also part of it, that I have always done swimming. So it was probably a bit mentally hard for me already back then. And I think I started triathlon because I didn't really feel like I mastered the swim. And I think I sort of has taken that mentality with me a bit into triathlon. And it's actually something I'm working on now, to just... It is a lot about mindset and confidence as well in the swim. So I think it definitely doesn't help if you talk yourself down as a swimmer. So I think that has also just been something I'm trying to reflect more about just the last years, that it is about believing you can actually improve as a swimmer as well. So I'm optimistic now for my future swimming.
So the short course world definitely forces you to learn how to swim at extreme paces, I would like to say, mostly. But what got you started in short course? You said your swim coach said that let's move into triathlon, and from there, how did the process work? I know we've talked to Gustav and figured out the Norwegian way, but how did it work for you specifically?
Yeah, I feel like I started in a really good time. Actually, I feel really lucky about, like, sort of when I made that transition. I started in the beginning of 2015, and yeah, I think Gustav and Kristian and Casper started more around 2010, 2011. So it was sort of already like an established group there, but at the same time, it was still a really new national team. So it wasn't really that much structure. So and it was still very few athletes. So basically, I could just go on camp with the national team right away, without any background in triathlon at all. And like my first camp was with that whole team, with Kristian, Gustav, everyone. And I didn't even have a road bike or anything. I just borrowed one from the national federation. So the first time I rode that bike was on this national team camp. So
Great.
It was just really about, yeah, if you want to try triathlon, just join us, basically. which made me like have good role models and good coaches and everything from the start. So I think that's harder already now in Norway, and definitely if you're from bigger triathlon nations, you sort of need to prove yourself first, and then you can maybe get some treatment like that. But they were just like, we need all the athletes we can get, so it doesn't matter if you're good or not. We just, if as long as you're willing to try, then we're willing to try to help you.
That's amazing. I wanted to ask you, so you grew up a swimmer, and when did you make the shift mentally of I'm a swimmer who does triathlon to I'm just a triathlete now? Or do you still consider yourself a swimmer that is pretty good and decent at triathlon? And also, when you go to the pool, do you swim with a watch, or are you still a swimmer at 8 people swimming with watches?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of good questions. I definitely don't identify myself as a swimmer anymore. Then I would be a bad swimmer, unfortunately. But it took some time actually still for me to identify myself as a triathlete. And that goes back to what I said about, I felt like it was a really weird sport, and I was probably a bit like insecure when I was 15, and I didn't know anybody else who did that. So it took a while before I started to actually say I did triathlon. Even when I was really training for triathlons, I still said to people when I met them for the first time that I did swimming, because I felt like that was like a more normal answer. So I don't know. I think it took like a year or two before I just realized, like, okay, you need to like own it. That's what you're actually doing. So just say you're doing triathlon. And now it's just fun to look back at. So
Yeah. And how did you find, obviously you start out more at the short course training with the Norwegian Federation. How did you find the short course racing?
it's really fun. And again, I feel really lucky for the group I was with, which made the training really fun. And we have been a lot of camps. And I still think short course is really cool to watch, and just how like the margin counts, and obviously it's way more tactics. And yeah, it's really cool to see how good the best are. But I was also always struggling a bit again with the swim, and I felt like it was always making me really nervous before races, and it was always about if I had a good swim or not. And sometimes I could have like a good swim for me, and that would make the race so fun. But other times I would just be too far behind, and then basically the rest of the race wasn't fun either, because then you're just more by yourself and you feel like you already lost the race, and then you need to continue for 1.5 hours, even though you feel like you're sort of out of it. So that was also mentally challenging, I think, to like never give up in races when I felt like I wasn't really fighting for any good positions anyway.
In the lead up to the Olympic builds and qualifying for the Olympics and all of that, is there a specific race or time in your training in the short course world where you remember, hey, I belong here, I am a triathlete, or this is the race where everything clicked?
Yeah, I feel like the beginning of 2023 was for me quite good actually. And I was really proud of the race I did there. I think my first race that season was I did a World Cup in New Zealand where I got my first podium. So that was really fun, and that was when I maybe started to think a bit that I could qualify for the Olympics. And then I had the also European Games that summer where I won that race, which for me was probably the most fun race I've done ever in short course. And then we had the relay the same weekend where we also won the relay there. So for me, that was really cool, I think. But I didn't really have many races where I really felt like I was very competitive. Especially not in the WTCS races. There I always felt like it was more like damage control.
Yeah, absolutely. And when did so obviously you made the transition to middle distance and long course shortly after that. What was the reasoning behind that? Where did it kind of click where you're like, okay, I want to try this longer distance?
Yeah, I think like actually straight after Paris, I was very set on another Olympics and just focusing on that. I think I really wanted like a redo because the race in the Olympics really didn't go well, and I still felt like I hadn't sort of reach my potential in short course, and I probably haven't, but I was really set on that, and I was also thinking like if it's going to be possible for me to have like a really good race in next Olympics, I can't really afford to focus on anything else than that, because it's gonna like need everything I have to be able to maybe get in a position where I could, for instance, podium. So that was definitely the plan. And then later that year, I did 70.3 Worlds, and just thought the training for that was really fun. And I was there together with Casper, which was also, he was also planning to do it, but he crashed the day before the race, unfortunately. But we were living there together, and he was a bit unsure what he wanted to do next year. He was also thinking about doing more long course and like Ironman. And before that, I hadn't even thought about doing a full distance. But something just switched a bit, I think, during that camp and when I got home from New Zealand. I think it was something like people has always told me that I will do better in long course. So
Okay.
especially like the people in the Norwegian team has always told me that. And it was something in me that was thinking like that I don't need to make it just like hard for myself with sticking to short course, when I also sort of felt that maybe I would feel a bit more like I was matching a bit better if I actually tried to focus more on the Ironman distance. So I decided to just give it a year and see what I thought after that. So that's what I've been doing this year.
Just a little bit. So when you talk about like your training camps and all of that, like, how has that looked since you've gone from the short course world into the 70.3 and full distance world? Are you training with the guys? How is your environment, and like what does that look like right now?
Yeah, this year it has been a bit mixed. It's been a bit weird for me because I've always been a part of that national team, maybe for 10 years, like ever since I started with triathlon. But the national team it's like short course focused. So if you do Ironman, you can't really be a part of that. Like it doesn't really make sense for them to pay for my camps if I'm not doing the races and stuff like that. So it's been the first year where I've been a bit more on my own. But that being said, I actually still done 2 altitude camps together with the national team, which I think has been great. Like I really appreciate that they let me join the camps. It's the only difference is that I pay for it myself, but I can still like join their sessions and of course adjust a little bit just because I'm doing other races. But the training is surprisingly similar. Like they do a lot of threshold, I still do a lot of threshold, so it's not really major changes. I change up some sessions if I'm gonna have like more Ironman specific, but it's still just nice to have that group. And I've also still had I still have the same coach as when I was in the national team, and he's coaching the whole national team, so it makes even more sense for me to join their camp sometimes if it fits my schedule, because then I can also be with Mikael and train with the group. But the last camp leading into Kona now, I didn't really fit with like the national team schedule, so then I actually just went by myself and had my boyfriend and one other friend that was join us, just so I had somebody to train with. But none of them are like really professional athletes. They're just in quite good shape and they're boys, so it works all right. So that was really fun to just, for the first time, sort of plan my own altitude camp. This year I haven't done any camps with Kristian and Casper, Gustav, or we were actually in Sierra Nevada at the same time earlier this year, but so I did a little bit training with them there, but we haven't really planned camps that much together. It's also been a bit hard because the race schedule has been so different, and with Nice and Kona split and stuff like that. So maybe I hope I can get like do some more camps with them next year, but right now I don't really have any group, so it's just what I feel like fit into my schedule. So I make the schedule first, and then I try to get some people to join me.
Amazing. So before we jump into all the details in altitude camps and all of that, I wanted to ask you, when you made the jump from short course to long course, we know you're capable of doing anything really, but mentally, you said a switch flicked in your head, and what was your like why, because we know you're perfectly capable of competing at short course and now long course, but it wasn't the training, it wasn't that, but what went through your head of, okay, I'm ready now to make the switch to the longer stuff? Because obviously you guys train a lot and the distance wasn't probably a problem, quote unquote, but it was more of an internal motivation that happened inside of you.
Yeah, I think it's a bit both. I think the long distance also, like distance actually suits me better, and not only the distance, but back to like the swimming, it suits me better that it's not, the swimming is still important, but it's not make it or break it in the same way as in short course, which is also better for me right now, at least. Maybe I'll be a swimmer one day, but not yet. But I think it was also mainly about just trying something new, and I think I was always thinking like to do Ironman at one point. I was always thinking like I need to try that at some point in my career, but my plan was always to do LA first and then maybe go to long course. But I think I just at a point realized that the career isn't actually that long as I was always thinking like I have plenty of time, but then I was thinking a bit more about it, like no, not really. Like the years are flying by, and it's I think I would have regretted it if I did short course 4 more years without like trying to see if I liked the longer distances better. Like 4 years is actually quite much in a career, and especially if you like, I don't know, you never know how long your body will hold up, right? So it's like you can't just plan like, okay, I have a career until I'm 40 and this is how I will like distribute it. It's like every year is a plus in a way as well. So it's about just making them count. And yeah, as I said, I think I just would have regretted if I didn't try it now.
Absolutely. And we've definitely seen that in a number of cases where maybe short course athletes stay in short course too long chasing that Olympic dream, and then they don't quite make that happen, but they also never really transition into the long distance or see what they're capable of there. So it was very cool to see you jump into that. And I wanted to ask, you've done a few interviews talking about your experience at Kona, but I wanted to see kind of how did it feel? How surreal was that winning the Ironman World Championships? Right?
Yeah, it was very surreal. I think I was talking to Mikael about that as well, and he was saying like, I know you're, because the thing is I've always had Kristian and Gustav around and Casper as well now with Nice, and in one way it has almost been normalized to me, like, okay,
Crazy.
they just win these big races, and I've always been thinking it's really cool. Yeah, but it's sort of made it a bit more doable in one way that I've seen they do it, but at the same time I think I've always also been, I've never really believed that like I could do the same. I don't know why, but I've never really imagined myself winning anything like that. So like leading up to the race, I was I felt really confident. So I did even say in some interviews, like, I think I can podium a really good day. And I don't know where that confidence came from, but like leading into the race, I started to be like, yeah, this can be really good. But I definitely didn't believe I would win it. It was like way too many people that I was thinking like, you are good, you are good, you are good. So I was thinking like, yeah, if some people have a really rough day, I can maybe beat them, and then I might end up like third. That was like my sort of dream day. So I just really hadn't seen it coming. I felt like just really unprepared. I was only there with my boyfriend, and we were just, after the race, it was just like so much going on, and I couldn't keep up with anything. It felt like it was really, really weird, and it took a lot of time for me to just process that race.
Before you got to Kona, you had a pretty shocking race in Hamburg that really opened a lot of people's eyes. I don't think it was shocking probably for you and your camp, but how much of a change did that make to the rest of your season and really your mentality going forward and how you did approach going into Kona?
It didn't really change much. I think I was before that race, I had like a plan what I thought that I could hold, like what's on the bike and what pace I thought I could run. And actually in the race, I was like spot on that. So I was like happy with the performance, but I was not like super surprised myself. I did what I sort of thought I could do in that race, but I was at the
Even
same
with
time
the bars down.
Yeah, that wasn't a part of the plan, but the rest was the rest was basically my plan. But I was really like happy. Really, I thought it was so cool to get out to the swim together with Laura and Kat, and that was quite. Also felt a bit surreal to me in a way to just be riding around with them from the start. And I was thinking like, "Ooh, this is really cool." And I also, as I said, on the run, I ran what I had planned to run, and it felt quite good. But of course, I didn't know if I was able to do it. I just had like a feeling like if I run around 4 minutes per K, I should be able to do that. But it's and I said that to Mikael as well, my coach, and he was like, "Yeah, but it feels easier training. Like you probably can't do that." But in the race, I did that, and I was just like, "Yeah, that was what I thought I could do." So I wasn't like really surprised, but I was still thinking like, "Yeah, this is fun." And I was really happy with that race. So even though I was still very far back from Kat and Laura, though, so I also saw like, okay, the level is really high when I saw the times they were running in that race.
Did you change your mindset in Kona, or even now that Kona is over and going into 70.3 Worlds, with how that all played out? Obviously, we all know Kona, the dynamics, the weather, the humidity, everything really factors in. But was that part of your strategy on that marathon run? Like, hey, I'm in third. I know I'm going to podium here if I hold true to myself. Or was there a time there where you were trying to push up to Lucy and Taylor and overdoing it a little bit, or is it just steady and now you've got a different mindset going into some of these bigger races going forward?
Yeah, I think I was running quite steady. I was really happy to just stay in third, but I tried to just run like as even as possible the whole way. I think it's easier to do that as well when you start by yourself, and it was like a big gap both ways really when I started running. So it was nobody. I think I was, or at least it was like 4 or 6 minutes or something up to Taylor and Lucy. So it wasn't like a gap I could just close really fast either. And I didn't really think about closing it. I was also worried about Kat from behind. So because I think, or Kat and Laura really, because I think Laura ran 8 minutes faster than me in Hamburg, and I started out 8 minutes before them in that race. So I felt like I couldn't just relax with that 8 minutes gap either. And I just really respected the heat there. I had never been doing a race in such conditions, or not any races longer than a sprint distance at least. So I was very like uncertain how I would react to that, and I felt right away when I started to run, I just felt so hot. So I just felt really bad from the beginning of that run, and I was thinking like, this is going to be really hard, because actually in the both of the other full distance I've done, I felt really good coming off the bike, and like the first half marathon has just been feeling so easy, but in Kona it felt just super hard from the start. So I was really scared of how the body would, if the body would even continue to work. So I just tried to hold the pace that I hoped that I would be able to hold. Like it didn't feel comfortable, so I didn't know if it was a good pace to start in. I think I ran a bit slower the last half, but it wasn't like a crazy positive split. It was just a little positive.
That is still very impressive in its own in Kona in that heat and humidity, especially this year. It was so crazy humid. But I want to ask kind of, obviously, there were some big changes after Kona having a lot more attention and media obligations. How did it go in that time between Kona and then trying to get ready to race another World Championships just a few weeks later?
Oh yeah, it was some weird weeks, and I'm definitely not used to that sort of attention, as you said. It sort of also makes me a bit happy that I haven't really had it earlier in my career. Like, yeah, it feels a lot like maybe it gets a bit better and you get more used to it. Maybe but it's been for me a bit hard to like know how to handle it. Like, I'm already terrible at responding to messages. I think like when I won the first national championship back in 2016, I felt like I got way too many messages from that race, and this was like maybe 100 times more. So it was it's been for sure hard to get used to, and I think it was also hard to refocus for a new race. I feel like I'm not somebody who needs to win all the time. If I compare myself with, for instance, Kristian, I feel like he has a mentality. He's always hungry to win something. But for me, after Kona, I was just so happy with the season and just felt like really satisfied with the season. And I didn't really feel any of that hunger to like race more or to have another good result. I was just, felt a bit, I just want to enjoy the season so far. And it was, so when I came home, I sort of did the training I was supposed to do, but I wasn't really thinking about Marbella as much. Like, I wasn't really feeling really excited to do that race. But I think when I got there, I was still at a really good place, and I was at least able to think that, okay, I'm just going to really enjoy this race, which was really fun. And out in course as well, I wasn't maybe at my best mentally, but I was still at the place where I was thinking, this is fun, and maybe more able to enjoy it than I normally am, because the result wasn't really that important to me. So I was, of course, still trying to push, but it's some days you're able to dig even deeper just because you really want to do well, and some other days you're more like, I'm fine with where I am in the race. So I had more that day where it's just like every time I think I started running like 8 or something, and I was just thinking, oh, 8 is great. And then I actually passed so much. It's like 7 is really great. And then when I was 6, I was just like, yeah, this is a really good day. And I was, didn't expect anything more of myself that day. I don't think I'm that hard on myself so I probably should work on that a bit to just be able to like push yourself a bit more. But it's also nice to just enjoy it. So.
Yeah, it's really refreshing to hear that, especially after a big win in Kona, and obviously a lot of athletes that would be their season, and then to top it up with a 6th place, it's an amazing performance. And I also believe that mentally, for longevity of athletes, it's really important to know when you can push and how you can push, because if you're constantly pushing yourself and making yourself hurt every single race, then mentally maybe you could go to a very dark place. So that's really good on you, and it shows a lot of emotional intelligence on your part. And going back to Kona, you mentioned you were feeling really good on the lead up. I don't want to get into the specifics, but as triathletes, we have these sessions when we do them, and we're like, yes, I feel ready. Not that those sessions are key sessions, but after completing them, we're like, yeah, give me the race. What were those sessions when you felt like that you're like, yeah, Solveig is ready to perform?
I actually had a really long sessions 2 weeks out, where I did 2 times 2 hours race pace on the bike, and then I did 2 times 14K run at like race pace, but it was actually way faster than race pace, or what the race pace ended up being. But it was also much cooler, so it was completely different conditions from Kona. So I think I ran like 350 or something on that session, but I ran 405, 410 maybe in the race. So it was actually quite far from race pace. But I did that session, and it felt so comfortable the whole way. Like even after running, I did like 30K running in total, and it just felt so easy after doing that bike right before. So I was thinking like, okay, if the race has been today, it would have been a really good race. So I was thinking like, then I'm hopefully ready. I just hope I feel as good in 2 weeks.
In that race, I mean, we all, and Jenna had asked the question on the carbs and all that in Marbella. We love the nutrition aspect of it all, and your sponsor Precision and you are very good at sharing what your plan is for the race. How do you go about actually executing your plan on the bike? And is there a set reminder that you have on when to intake, or is it dictated a lot by the course? And with all the climbing in Marbella, how did that actually play out for you, and how do you plan to get all the carbs in that you need?
Still really bad at planning, actually. I always sit the night before the race, like maybe 10 p.m. and try to like plan where I should take my carbs and like should I have it in gels or sports drinks. And so I'm terrible at that aspect. But I think I'm also quite lucky in a way that I feel like I tolerate a lot. So I never really struggle with stomach issues, or at least I haven't so far. It's always scary to say stuff like that. But I usually don't have any problems with it. And for instance, in Marbella, I think I probably took more carbs than I needed to. Like I haven't ever tested how much I actually absorb, for instance. So that would have been really interesting to do. But I think, especially since I don't really have much problems, I just played safe by just taking what I know is enough for that race. So probably I saw actually Precision, they post what everyone takes in the race, and I hadn't really, like, usually before the race I also discussed it with some of their nutritionists and like make a plan together, but before that race I hadn't really done that, so I just sort of put together something the night before. And when I saw they post like what I took and what all the other Precision athletes took, I was like, I had taken so much more carbs, so I was just thinking, oh, maybe maybe I didn't really need that. Like I think Jelle had less than 100 grams per hour and he won the race, and I had like 140 per hour, and he obviously pushed much higher power than me as well. So but yeah, I didn't have any stomach problems actually in the race, and that this also just shows the same, that I'm not good at planning. I had 2 soft flasks that I was going to check in to that Pro Fluid station. So you can take 1 flask per lap, and I had a lot of gels in one of them, sports drinks in the other. So I was going to have 1 per lap. And then when I came to the Pro Fluid station, I didn't see my flask anywhere. And then I actually ran through the whole station and I didn't see it. So I turned around and ran back and tried to ask the volunteers, like, where are my flask? And they were just saying, you didn't check in any flask. and I was about to be like, yes, I did. But then I was just like thinking, and like the wheel was spinning in my head. And then I realized, oh no, I didn't check in any flask. So then I felt so stupid for like running around there, and I just hadn't checked in any. So then I actually just need to take some gels from the course. And luckily, as the Precision people are really hands-on. So when I came there the next lap, they had put out a flask for me. So they had checked in 1 for me. But that's like, I did not only forget to check them in, I also forgot that I forgot to check them in. So that also altered my race nutrition strategy a little bit, but apparently I still managed to get a lot of carbs in there.
Yeah, it
Hey
sounds
guys,
like it.
this sounds like me.
Nothing
Everybody
new on
knows.
race day, Fed.
Cheers. Absolutely. Now, a lot of talk with this race was about the bike course and just the amount of climbing on it. Can you tell us a little bit about like your experience within not only tackling the bike course, but the race dynamics on top of a challenging bike course?
Oh yeah, it was a really fun bike course, I think. It was especially challenging with the wind. I thought I was a bit scary at some points, but I think I'm still more comfortable in wind than a lot of others, I think, because I have been training a lot in winds. And I think it helps that I'm in the wind and in the downhills. It helps that I'm probably, or I am a bit heavier than most of the other girls, but obviously in the uphills that doesn't really help me that much. So I did lose a lot of the time in the uphills, and looking back now, I think I have never actually ridden a course like that with a lot of elevation. So looking back at it now, I think the next time I'll do a similar course, I will try to be a bit more aggressive on the bike. I felt like I was playing it really safe. I was really afraid to like blow up. So like my watts wasn't really that high in the end because I was afraid to like push too much in the sections, like in the hills. But you do also get a lot of sort of recovery from that because of the downhill section. So that's also a learning for me to like try to go for it a bit more. I feel like that's and that's also something Mikael says, that I'm usually a bit like too careful, maybe more than being too aggressive. I'm more like playing it a bit too safe sometimes. But yeah, I think it was a really cool course, and it was, especially in the women's field, like really spread out because of that. So it's interesting. I think it's a good thing that the courses are, or at least in the 70.3 worlds, they are switching year from year. It makes it more exciting.
And right back to Nice, that'll be some more climbing next year at 70.3 worlds too. So
yeah, that's also a really fun course, or it looks really fun, and it's a bit more technical as well, I think, in the descent. So that'll be fun.
speaking of next year, how is your season's done for this year? How are you planning to attack next year? And you mentioned this earlier, is LA 28 still in the cards, or are we now long distance? We're a Kona queen.
I don't think so, but I haven't officially written it up either. But I think the plan for next year is most likely to still focus on the Pro Series. I actually haven't planned next year yet. I will use some time in the season break now to actually make a plan. I know a lot of people are racing in New Zealand. I feel like at one side I really want to race there. At the other side, I feel like it's a bit too soon. Like I would like to have a even longer just training period, and it's also really long travel. So we'll see, but probably the Pro Series at least. And yeah, Kona and 70.3 worlds will be the main focus, or Kona will be the main focus.
We did have a few questions that we asked the audience, and thank you for sharing that post. I think one of them triggered, is Jorgen your brother?
Really?
I had a feeling. He wanted to know, brown cheese or jelly on a slice of bread? I had to look up what brown cheese was, because apparently it's a big thing in Norway.
It's really good, actually. I feel like before a race, I would go for jelly because it just is so safe. But brown cheese in general, it's really good.
Can you explain brown cheese to the audience for most of us that don't know?
It's it tastes like a bit caramelish, but a bit more. I'm really bad at describing. It tastes a bit more sour than caramel, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So you should try it. I can bring some to next race.
Perfect. That'd be excellent. We had another question there from our audience, just asking, do you feel like you're a part of that Norwegian method, or would you say you came up from the Norwegian method? Because it's been such a talked about point, with obviously the success from the boys on the other side. Do you count yourself into that?
I guess that can the audience decide. I still really don't understand exactly what the Norwegian method is, to be honest. But I feel like I've of course done a lot similar training to the boys. We've been training a lot together over the years, and I feel like a lot of just the athlete I am, and I feel like I've learned a lot just from the coaches we had, and also from the other athletes. So, and especially, of course, from Kristian, Gustav, Casper, Lotte, like the athletes who has been a part of the team from the start. So I don't know. I think it's cool when people look at me like in the same category as the boys. And when I was in Kona, it was a lot of questions. Like everyone's just asking me about, are you going to do the same as the boys did in Nice? And it was just so much focus on the boys when people were interviewing me in Kona. And some people were just like, oh, aren't you like tired of that? But for me, I was thinking like, I think it's nice that they sort of look at us as one group. Like, I think apparently people can tell that we are like getting along real well, and that it's I've not been training with them that much this year, but I still feel like we still have a really good relation, all of us. So I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah, and I was kind of curious if because obviously there's been so much talk about those guys, each of them their first time at their Ironman World Championships winning. Did that feel like any extra pressure to you at all, or how did you kind of handle that?
I don't know. As I said, I didn't expect to win, and I it didn't feel. It was weird, but I think it was, as I said, I felt really good before Kona, and also just I was a good place mentally. So I was like generally not feeling any pressure, like at least not external pressure. And I thought it was weird myself that I was feeling so calm. And like if I looked on it from the outside, I always felt way more pressure to perform in the short course races. But actually before Kona, it was way more media attention and way more people who actually was putting pressure on me. If I looked at it from the outside, it was more expectations there than it had been in any other race. But still, I sort of felt less expectations. So I don't know why, but I think it's just been my mentality has just been different this year, and I don't really know. I don't know why it's been different either. I haven't really done anything to work on it, but this year it's been really nice at least.
Well, you're the last Norwegian to actually win, so maybe the boys want to be like you now going into next year.
There we go. We have a
I mean-
couple quick fire questions that we like to ask the pros that we have come on the podcast.
yeah.
The first, this might be kind of, you may have answered already. What's the weirdest thing you've kind of eaten in training or racing? Like you've stopped at a gas station and you just need to get something in.
I'm really bad at this quick fire thing.
Okay.
But I don't think I've really eaten anything weird.
Yeah.
Mainly just candy or ice cream or gels or some bread with something.
There we go. All the sugar and carbs. That's what we love.
Yeah.
If you had to race an Ironman with another pro, who would it be? And this could either be someone who's faster that encourages you to go faster, or just someone that you want to spend the 8 hours of an Ironman spending time with.
But I should still race my fastest, right? Or
Yeah,
No.
it could be either way. It could be either someone who would just be fun to race alongside, or someone who could push you to go faster.
I think I need to take either Kristian, Gustav, or Casper. They're like good company, and they can also just be in front the whole way on the bike and push me on the run, and I can have a really good pace holder.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the perfect intersection. They have a good time too. And actually, we've already got your answer on this one. If you're to add a fourth discipline to triathlon, what it would be? Sounds like the computer coding technical side would be something you'd add in there.
Yeah, it's been really like little focus on studying the last years. So I was better at it before. I think the last year it's been more about triathlon and less about studying. But I do really enjoy it, and I sort of wish I had more time for it.
Fair enough. And then one final question for the quickfire. What's a piece of advice you've been given over the years that's really just resonated with you?
I think just be patient and feel like it's what everyone says, but like just if you train consistent and ideally also enjoy it, you will improve over the years. So I feel like that's what I've been doing. I've just been doing triathlon for so long, and this year it has clicked together. So that's just don't expect to be good right away, I guess.
I wanted
Make
to
sure
ask
everyone
you,
hears
where,
that. Patience.
Right. Where do you keep your Kona umeki?
I haven't gotten it yet. It's getting shipped, so I don't know. I don't have any place for it yet.
Make sure you don't put anything in it, because energy needs to flow around it.
Okay. Good thing you said that. I
Yeah.
would probably put something in it if you didn't.
Well, we want to see you back in Kona and have another great year and back it up here. So make sure that Madame Pele is happy and you're getting all the good.
I will.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. It was really great to learn a little bit more about you and hear about, a crazy epic last month, especially, but a whole year that has definitely put you in the forefront of all the triathletes following along with the sport. So we sure appreciate that. And what's up next for you? Just kind of resting up and deciding what you'll do next year?
Yeah, that's the plan. Just have some chill time at home. It's I always think it's so nice coming back home after I've been traveling. So the last time I was here, it was so beautiful with just all the colors everywhere, like red, yellow, orange, like all the leaves. And when I was running today, it was just snowing the whole time. So it feels like a completely different city than 2 weeks ago. But I really enjoy that we have those different those changes during the year. Yeah, the seasons.
And where's the
keep
best place
doing.
to follow you?
On Instagram is the best place to follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, you could follow me on Strava as well, but I'm a bit lazy there. Like earlier, I posted everything, and now I think I post like one session a month. But it's sometimes something there. I posted my run today, so now it's something there. But yeah, Instagram is probably the place I update the most.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. I know you're inspiring others, and I happen to be with a friend of my upbringing, and her daughters were watching Kona through my phone on a car ride home. And they went from not knowing what triathlon was to signing up for a kids race and doing their first triathlon next year. So you're doing something well, and it's getting more people into the sport. So I appreciate it. I'll send you the picture of them too after we're done.
Oh yeah, that's brilliant to hear. That's so cool.
Well, we will follow along, and all the best until we see you at your next race. Have a great, I guess, evening here.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to watch a movie now, actually. Premiere on this movie of a really famous Norwegian cross-country skier. So that's my plan for the evening.
Oh, cool.
There we go.
You have to check that out.
The beginning of the Norwegian method.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Have a good one.
You.